Hello everyone. This story comes from the sub-post on the R-Infidelity forum. Title: Ex-wife, 33F, won't stop trying to contact me and it's messing me up. By user RuPaulC5. So let's dive right into this. I want to start this post by saying that I am a regular lurker around these infidelity subs, and just today I made this throwaway account to get some advice. Also, since English is not my first language, there might be grammatical errors, so please excuse those. It has been over 6 months since D-Day, 5 months since divorce, and I still need some advice. I do not have enough time to tell my full story, but here is what I can tell you. 1. Married 5 years, had a great sex life. We had made the choice to not have kids until we were both 35. 2. I pretty much caught her having sex with her AP in our bedroom. 3. I had been pretty clear about my views on infidelity right from when we started dating and had told her very clearly that cheating was a complete no-no for me. 4. I stayed calm throughout the entire ordeal. I asked her to get dressed. I called up her older sister who lived in a nearby town and asked her to pick my wife up. 5. I blocked her on all platforms and talked to my lawyer about the divorce proceedings. 6. They drove back to my house the next day, and she immediately threw herself onto me and started crying profusely. She wanted me to give her a chance to explain herself. 7. Even though I did not really want to hear any of it, and my answer would still be divorce whether she cheated 100 times or just once, I sat down with her and asked her some questions. 8. My first question was it an emotional affair or a physical one? She seemed to be stupefied for a good 5 or 6 seconds before tears started streaming down her face, and she whined about how I could even think she would have an emotional affair with someone else other than me and swore it was a purely physical one. 9. My second question was, were you unsatisfied in our marriage in any way? She claimed she wasn't. She was incredibly happy with both our sex life and our financial status. 10. What was the reason then? I don't know, she said, and absolutely broke down. She got on her knees and said she feels disgusted with herself. She said she was going through a lot since she wasn't doing well in her job and she wanted to validate her own importance in her mind. She often talked to me about her job too. I supported her wholeheartedly, and she was also going to therapy for it. Even though I did not understand her reason, I did not poke much into it. 11. How many times were you physically involved? She told me it was only 3 times of physical contact, and she had apparently never allowed him to kiss her. I don't know if that was supposed to make me feel better about it. 12. With that, I was done. I told her that I wanted a divorce. Surprisingly, she did not say anything, just nodded and went to the guest room and locked herself up with her sister. 13. Unfortunately, though, before I could serve her the divorce papers, our district went into lockdown and travel between districts was prohibited. Thus, in an unfortunate turn of events, it seemed I would need to spend a full week with my wife in the same house, and I could not even file for divorce because the courts were closed. 13. But I was not having that bullshit. I decided to move out and live in my neighbor's house instead. And that helped somewhat. I would still see her every day. Dark circles, swollen eyes, she looked nothing like before. 14. One day, she got too drunk and I heard her shouting in her room, "I disgust you, don't I? You can't even look at my face." And she repeated that the whole night. 15. Another day, I bumped into her talking to someone on the phone in the footpath in front of our house, and she immediately started freaking out and screamed, "I was not talking to him, I promise. It was just my colleague from work." A while later she seemed to realize her mistake and walked away without another word. 16. A week later, they moved away, and I moved back into my house. I got done with the divorce about a month later. Bizarrely, she did not demand anything from me in the settlement. 17. 6 months later, she would still text me and call me sometimes. She once drove over 50 miles to see me when I was ill with COVID. I have not been doing very well. I do still love her. The way she was truly mournful of her mistakes sometimes almost made me feel for her again. But other times I just want to cut her off completely and start afresh. I am not sure if I would be able to love or marry again. But I did get along with a few hookups in the last 2 weeks or so, and to be honest, it does feel somewhat better. I do not know if I can move on if we keep talking. I have told her not to talk to me, but she does not listen. Should I just block her everywhere? I really do not want to hurt her, but she has not left me any option. What should I do? OP comment Nostromo 64 said, block her. Don't take her back. She needs to work on herself to know why she felt entitled to have an affair. Also, her explanation is very lame. OP said, taking her back is already out of the question. The only thing I was confused about was whether I should block her or not, since she seemed to be going through a lot, and she never really tried to guilt trap me or try to get back with me after the divorce. We talked like a pair of old friends. The problem is with me. I'm afraid I won't be able to start a new life if I keep talking to her. Thanks to everyone's comments here, I am now going to talk to her about going NC for a few months. I hope that will help. Just Joey63 said, so you actually caught them being intimate in your own bed in your house? OP said, well, yes. They were right in the middle of it when I entered. Even though they were in my bedroom, they were not on the bed when I entered. They were using a small couch on the side of the room for some reason. I don't know if they used the bed before I entered, but I am thankful I at least did not see them on it. Seeing them on our marital bed would have been twice as traumatic. I'm going to say the obvious answer, and that is to go NC with her. I don't think you need to be nice with her, but if OP want to, that's up to him. Whether she takes it well or not, shouldn't be a concern for OP. Main focus at this point is on his own well-being. That's it. OP ex-wife needs to understand that there is not a possible future involving OP ever again and that she needs to respect his boundary after a divorce. One of the reasons for a divorce is to start over again and to have no contact with the former spouses. OP can only move on and start over if he goes fully NC with his ex-wife. You can't do that if there is still contact between the two, unless there is child custody involved, which it isn't. It sucks that OP caught his ex-wife with a pee in his bedroom. Even though it was his bed, I would still be traumatic regardless if it was on his bed or not. The sheer fact that his ex-wife allowed for something like this to happen in his own house would make me feel so angry at her. She allowed his own house to be violated like that.